as usual, I've not read any of these stories, so they could be all nonsense, or they could be controversial. But we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Right, Doctor Who blew its big hand off. A satisfying trilogy gets soured by an asterisk. What, that little Gaulish fella that stood up against the Romans? Asterix. I know. Right, it's Doctor Who. This is from, by the way, this is from Polygon. Joshua Rivera. He, him. It's Doctor Who tradition that one Doctor's final episode is the next Doctor's first. This handoff is one of the coolest things about the show. You never really know what you're going to get, and everything feels new again. Last weekend, the guard changed once again, in another first for the series, following Jodie Whittaker's tenure as the first woman in the role. Unfortunately, the momentous occasion was marred by what seems like an incredibly boneheaded decision in how the transition was made. It was a bit naff, wasn't it? It wasn't very good. Well, I did enjoy all three of those episodes, those anniversary episodes. I did enjoy them for what they were. I understand why people are cross, and there were some, bonkers bits in it that I thought, why have they done that? But anyway. The 15th Doctor, however, is always going to have an asterisk by his name, a little footnote denoting that his introduction as actor Ncuti Gatwa takes his historic place as the first black man to assume the role in Doctor Who's 60-year history. Is different from the rest. It makes the whole affair feel like an alarming step back right before what many still hope might be a great leap forward for the long-running series. Well, yeah, because it didn't regenerate as such, did it? They called it a bi-generation, didn't they? But it didn't have the old energy coming out, like the quickening sort of thing. They didn't do all that, did they? Which is what everybody wants to see. They just pulled them apart, didn't they? They were like 2 in 1, pulled them apart. And as Gary from Nerdrotic says, they were touching pee-pees. Or as when I saw it, I thought, joined at the hip, because they were for a while, weren't they? But anyway, they did it like that, as though I got the impression he'd been pulled. The 14th Doctor, Doctor 10A, had become like a conduit or a portal for the 15th Doctor to be pulled through him, if you know what I mean, from another time. That's how I thought at first. That was my initial. I didn't say it at the time because I've had time to think on it. So that's what I was thinking, or what were brewing in my head. But anyway, it makes the whole affair. I've read this bit. I'll read it again. It makes the whole affair feel like an alarming step back right before what many still hope might be a great leap forward for the long-running series. Spoilers for the ending of The Giggle follow, which I've just given you. I've just told them. I have 2 headcanon thoughts, but Russell T Davis's comments make them less likely, it says Win Grace. Well, let us spill the beans. What are your 2 headcanon thoughts? I'm baffled by what Russell T Davis has been saying lately. I don't know. He doesn't seem the same person. It's like George Lucas. When George Lucas did the original trilogy, with this visionary filmmaker, and then when he came back to do the prequels, it was like he was a different person. When he did his special editions and then the prequels, it was like a different fellow. Like the original George Lucas had brain damage or something, or something had happened, and it was just thinking differently. And Russell T Davies seems like that. Seems to be thinking differently, in my opinion. Right, number 1. The 14th Doctor will still regenerate as normal at his death, but the Toymaker just pulled Ncuti back early. Yeah. Yep. That's it. It was like it wasn't a regeneration. It was a they call it a bi-generate, but I'm not thinking of bi-generate. I think the word bi, the little bit at the beginning, bi, is deliberate, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think that what the Toymaker were up to as that says pulled him from another time, which is why he said, "What the hell's going on here?" But was he naked in that other time? I don't know. But anyway, number 2. The splintered multiverse was not allowed to split, and it stabilized because it was in proximity to the Toymaker's altered reality. This multiverse thing, and all they call it the Hooniverse, whatever they're calling it, aren't they? It's another thing that they've just decided to create. They've never really talked about multiverses in Doctor Who before. They've talked about, pardon me, how time, is timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly and all that. But there's fixed points in it, isn't there, in Doctor Who? That's what they said. There's fixed points in time that cannot be altered, which kind of precludes there being multiverses. It's all one timeline, but it's a bit wibbly wobbly in between the fixed points. But I don't know. But yes, very good points, Wingrace. Very good points. And but it doesn't seem like Russell T Davies is thinking that way, does it? Because he's saying, when the bi-generation happened for the 14th Doctor, Doctor 10A, it happened for every other Doctor as well, which is how we saw him again in the Tales from the TARDIS, the Doctors that are still alive, like Colin Baker and Sylvester McCoy and them. That's how we saw them, because suddenly there's all the other Doctors are now running around in the same timeline or something like that. I don't know. I don't think he's even thought about it. Yes. Number 3, Russell T Davies just wanted his cake and to eat it too. Yes, exactly. Exactly, Wingrace. That's why you're a better reviewer than me. Because you come up with stuff like that. Anyway, let's carry on with this article and see what they've got to say. Polygon. As an episode, The Giggle, the last of the Doctor Who's 360th anniversary specials, is a hell of a ride, if a bit dense. The premise involves a subliminal message hidden in every screen, everywhere, driving the world mad. As other people have said, they kind of stole a lot from previous Doctor Who stuff. What Russell T Davies had written himself in this episode. But I didn't twig because I'm an idiot and I don't notice things. That's why I'm not very good at reviews. But anyway, the hidden signals and stuff like that. The premise involves a subliminal message hidden in every screen, everywhere, driving the world mad. A heavy-handed metaphor that would drag the whole episode down if the story dwelled on it much. Thankfully, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Writer Russell T Davies mostly uses this plot for spectacle's sake to give the episode an apocalyptic scale. He puts much more energy into the episode's villain, the Toymaker, which he should, because he was quite good, actually. Neil Patrick Harris. But anyway, a deep pull from Doctor Who history, the Toymaker first appeared during William Hartnell's The Very First Doctor, remember? Not the little girl, the little ethnic... Not ethnic. Can you say ethnic? Diverse girl that fell off a cliff. Or the other one. I forgot her name. Jo, somebody or the actress, I think. I can't remember her name. But, the other. Anyway, during William Hartnell's tenure on the run, he's not shown up on screen since, but still resurfaced in the odd Who novel or radio play through the years. In casting Neil Patrick Harris to resurrect the role, Davies finally gives the 3 specials a sense of history that this trilogy of specials has been lacking, one that stretches back to before the modern era of Doctor Who Davies kicked off in 2005. And there he is, dancing. As London burns. The Toymaker also thrusts us into the new era of Doctor Who, a creature from beyond the universe who sees all of existence through an amoral lens of games and play. The Doctor's plan for defeating him involves challenging him to a game. Only in the sort of logic loopholes Doctor Who is so fond of deploying, the Toymaker demands to play the next Doctor and shoots a beam right through the Doctor's chest. Which is fair enough, because it beat the William Hartnell Doctor, the William Hartnell Doctor, beat him. Then the David Tennant Doctor got beat, and now he wants to play the next one. So, I suppose that makes sense. I suppose. But he didn't end up fighting or playing against the 15th Doctor. He ended up playing against both of them, didn't he, at the same time? Anyway. This is where the giggle falls apart. Instead of regenerating into Shooty Gatwa's 15th Doctor, something weird called bi-generation happens, and the Doctor splits in two. David Tennant's 10th Doctor. I like this. I like this fellow who wrote this. I like the cut of his jib, Joshua Rivera. David Tennant's 10th Doctor and Gatwa's 15th. It's not a temporary thing either. A minute. Hey. I can hardly see the screen for this bloody Christmas tree. It's not a temporary thing either. As the special's denouement plays out, it's made very clear that 10 will remain alive and well, albeit settling down into the role of fun alien uncle to Donna Noble's family off-screen, while 15 goes off to do Doctor Who things. They each even get their own TARDIS. Which I hated that bit. With his big Harley Quinn mallet. Still say he should have just opened the door and there'd been another TARDIS control room in there, and he should have gone in there, done his switches and things, and it done the noise. What's the warping noise? Then he'd have disappeared from that rod. The door had closed, and then another TARDIS could have appeared outside. You know, the TARDIS could have copied itself or whatever, rather than just hitting it with a mallet, which was stupid. With a ding noise. But could be argued that he used that because it's to do with games and stuff, fun fairs and all that. Could be argued, couldn't it? But still stupid. Anyway, the whole thing smacks of cowardice in making the wildly inconsistent decision to make the first Black Doctor a weird anomaly that keeps the previous white one in play. It kind of suggests that you're keeping a spare Doctor around in case the new one doesn't work out. That's what it smacks of, doesn't it? I'm sorry, it just does. Gatwa's 15 is now categorically not the Doctor, undercut by the fact that the other guy's still out there, even if he never actually shows up. Yes, he's just a Doctor, isn't he? Anyway. There are charitable ways to read why this happened. Yes. Wingrace. Breaking case of emergency Doctor. That's what he's there for, isn't it? But it's written into his contract as well, David Tennant, that if RTD phones him up, he's got to come running, drop everything, and save us. That's what he's there for. There are charitable ways to read why this happened. Davis's Doctor Who work is best characterised as extremely sentimental, and his plots will frequently toss out logical sense if the emotion of a scene makes sense to him. As a sentimental writer, it's very possible that Davis could not bear to kill his most loved Doctor a second time, or that the symbolism of Tennant's Doctor wishing Gatwa's good luck and sending him off struck him as much more emotionally befitting such a historic handoff. Remember Tennant, when he first regenerated, he said he didn't want to go, didn't he? That was one of his last lines, wasn't it? I don't want to go, or something like that. Looking at it this way, however, strange credulity, and there's little reason anyone should be so generous. Doctor Who, under the tone Davis himself set in 2005, has established itself as embracing a sort of matter-of-fact I'll learn to read and speak one of these days. Progressivism that channeled the optimism of science fiction to show how humanity could in fact better itself over time. To that end, the series has often, albeit clumsily, worked to be inclusive and compassionate in fits and starts, matter-of-factly introducing queer characters, including Donna's trans daughter Rose in the 60th anniversary specials. Is she trans though? Don't know. I think she just identifies as female. I don't think any surgery or whatever has gone on. She's only 15, for God's sake. Anyway. And endeavouring to make the Doctor's world a little less lily white. We could be better, and the Doctor was there to cheer us on. What makes this sort of gaff all the more frustrating and almost retrograde? Oh, sorry, which makes this gaff? Sorry. which makes this sort of gaff all the more frustrating and almost retrograde. It's the kind of mistake you'd think prominent creators were done making. Granted, the ending of this story is not written yet. We're still in between seasons, with a Christmas special episode left to give Gatwa's Doctor his first proper adventure before he kicks off his run in earnest in 2024. I'm not looking forward to the Christmas special. Them goblins look terrible, and it begins with Bloody Doctor in a... It's a gay nightclub, isn't it? When all said, I bet it is, giving it all that. I'm sorry, but, it's a bit much. And I know it's been written because apparently Russell T Davies met his husband in a nightclub and their eyes locked across the nightclub. And this is basically a recreation of that, apparently. Don't write what you know, but don't write yourself. No, but a writer always puts themselves in their stories, don't they? It's natural, I suppose. But, don't go too far. It's possible that Davies plans to address the way the giggle reads as making the first Black Doctor seem like a carve-out that allows regressive holdouts to stick to their White Doctor. TV is a serial medium, and the push and pull between audience and artists is part of the game. Wingress says, just want to mention it since I haven't seen anyone mention it, but doesn't the new TARDIS look like Cerebro from X-Men? I suppose, yeah, a bit, yeah, it does, yeah. I didn't get that, but now you mention it, yeah, I suppose it does. It kind of gave me the vibe of the original TARDIS, which had the circles on the walls, but there were bigger ones, weren't there? And the TARDIS control room was a lot smaller in the olden days, wasn't it? So it gave me a vibe of that, but round instead of rectangular. But yes, you're right. It does have that sort of vibe, which is now a Disney thing, isn't it? Now and now Disney, remember, are stumping up lots of money for this new Who. It's probably why they felt that they could use the Avengers Tower in it. For Unit HQ, because Disney probably said, go for it. Anyway, Gatwa for his part is incredible. I won't go that far. Even without pants, which nobody's battered an eyelid. There were a fella running about with no trousers on. Which he never manages to put on before the credits roll. The 15th Doctor shines in the last few moments of the giggle with a grin that can light up the sky and an eagerness to see everything and go everywhere. It's a testament to his talent and charm that makes it feel like waiting to see how this all plays out will be worth it. We will see. But they kind of made out that the Doctor were tired all of a sudden. Worn out, essentially. The Time War, I suppose, and losing the companions and all that. They tried to do all that, didn't they? And he was just tired of it all. So they needed this new Doctor to come out who didn't have all that emotional baggage, character development, and is just going off being all happy and dancing in nightclubs and going around having adventures with Ruby Sunday. Anyway, Wingress says they had lots of other Marvel and Disney things hidden around the sets too, did they? I'm not very observant. But that mallet was very DC. Anyway, that's a decent article in my opinion. Yep, the blew its big hand off because as I said, it's not technically it's not a regeneration. I think it's just been in my head canon. It's just been pulled from another timeline or whatever, another time. So it's technically not. It's the Doctor from the future essentially, before David Tennant does his proper regeneration. But anyway, but what about Doctors after him then? They said, the bi-generation happened for all the previous Doctors as well. What about all the ones that are to come? Dunno. Anyway, let's move on. But as I said, I did enjoy the episodes. For what technically, I enjoyed the stories. It were the little bits, that niggled at me. But for the on the whole, so to speak, I enjoyed them all.